So that's why we talk about this being the biggest transfer of wealth in history in a single bill. We were hoping we'd get 4 Republicans. We fought it hard. I mean, I stayed up 2 different times. I did 2 all-nighters. We got 1 Republican voting against it in the Senate and 1 Republican voting against it in the House on the basis of what would be the problems with the tax cuts. Another Republican voted against it in the House and several in the Senate because of the, $3 to $4 to maybe $5 trillion debt increase in the deficit spending. So if you believe in somebody saying, well, we need to bring down that debt, this is not the bill. This was immoral in terms of what it's doing to working families, poor families, and it's also fiscally irresponsible because it explodes our debt.
And I want to talk a little bit more about that before we get into the nuanced issue areas of the bill. For our listeners who are not sure what it means for a rising national debt, can you correct me if I'm wrong, but it's estimated that $4 trillion without interest under this package would be what the national debt would be at. But what are those long-term impacts that people should be on the lookout for?
So what it means is, debt is something we all have. We all have credit card debt. We buy our houses with mortgages. But at a certain point in time, debt becomes too big. And that is the worry, that we are getting to a point in time where the debt is too big, because who's going to pay that? Well, we all pay it when we pay our taxes. So we don't want a bigger and bigger share of our tax revenue to go to paying down the debt. The same way you don't want all of your income that you get in to go towards paying your credit cards, because then you can never get ahead, because you need to be able to invest in your community, invest in your own family. It's the same concept. Now, I will say that every president that is a Democrat has brought down the debt, and every Republican has increased the debt. We had a chart that showed that. I brought it out, and if people ever want to spend some time watching me in the Rules Committee, we brought this out over and over again, because we often hear from Republicans that, we're fiscally responsible, we got to bring down that debt. But it is the facts are that Republicans, the last biggest impact on the debt was the first Trump tax credits, but they have overdone themselves. That was just, under $2 trillion. This one is going to be $4 trillion, maybe up to $5, depending on what the interest rate is. So it's not a good thing. And instead of once again, why do we have this debt? It is to give the tax breaks to the billionaires and the millionaires. Democrats are okay with the tax cuts intended for middle-income families. We would have been fine with that, but that's not what explodes the debt. It's the billionaire and millionaire tax cuts.